Boys, the Bristol 1000 is less than a week away. That is September 3rd and 4th. This is fixing to be the biggest Cleats and Cars event ever. We are so excited to hang out with all of you guys that are going to be there. We will be there with our merch booth. Please come say hi if you're going to be at the event. If you can't make it to the event in person, be sure to grab your pay-per-view ticket at baldeagle.com to watch us race Crown Vics around the Bristol Motor Speedway. It is going to be a blast. Can't wait to see you guys there. What's up, guys? Today we are going to continue progress on our 13B Rotary Swap Sidekick build we got going on over here. And we don't have much time to get this thing together. We're hoping to have this thing up and running in about a week from now. So we got to get to it because right now it is just the engine and transmission resting in the car, but we are making progress. We got parts on the way. We got a couple things to show you guys. We'll get to that in just a second. We're currently working on the manifold, but just the other day, Wyatt got the Fuel Tech all mounted up into the Sidekick here. So check that out, guys. We got our Fuel Tech FT450 mounted up in the dash of the Sidekick here, along with our wideband sensor gauge right there. Then we have our little port right there to hook up to the Fuel Tech to tune and make adjustments.
I hate to interrupt, but Larry came to say hi.
Oh, Larry, where'd you come from?
Larry came to say hi.
Where was he hanging out?
He was on the back.
Dude, Larry's looking a little scrawny. He needs to,
You need to eat, dude.
you need to get some food in you.
Come on, get off, man. Go back to your home. There you go.
Well, got Larry hanging out over there, but the Fuel Tech is all mounted up into the Sidekick here. Wyatt was kind of going over the wiring harness and making sure all of our plugs and connectors are going to work for the rotary swap.
Yeah, it's really close. We just got to change out the injector plugs and to the crank trigger plugs, and then it should be ready to go. Just plug it in, load a base map into it, should fire up. So pretty simple setup. Fuel Tech 450 running the rotary in our car today. So
yes,
not
sir.
Today, but soon.
Soon. Right now we're working on the manifold. So we got a whole bunch of stuff ordered and we're doing a very simple turbo manifold here. So this is the flange that we got from the Vargas brothers. This is the exhaust flange for the 13B. And then we just got some, what is this, like 1.5 inch tubing?
That is 2 inch.
That's 2 inch that opens up to 2.5 to 3. Dang, okay.
Yeah.
So
Vargas boys told me that the rotaries love their airflow, so just made it big.
yeah, that is a lot of pipe there. So 2 inch pipe going into a 3 inch pipe. It's pretty simple setup, almost like a log manifold before a rotary.
It's gonna be a pretty simple setup too. So like total length on this thing's really only gonna be about like that. There's gonna be a 45 right there, and then that's gonna go right to the base of our turbo. So not a super long manifold, so it should keep velocity and heat in there pretty good. Help spool that turbo up pretty quick.
Yep, and we are still waiting on the turbo. That is currently on its way, so we can't get the manifold completely done until the turbo gets here for final placement, but we got everything else for the most part as far as the turbo kit goes. We got all of the tubing to do the manifold. We just got our wastegate in. This is a 60 millimeter wastegate, big boy, because the rotaries flow a lot of air, so we need to be able to control the boost. Yeah, that 60 millimeter wastegate will come right off the turbo manifold, probably at the elbow there, and then that will go up to this T4 flange right here for the turbo. Got a very fancy T4 flange here, nice CNC billet deal from Shitbox Supply. That's a nice unit.
You know the deal.
So yeah, we're just trying to get some things knocked out here for the Sidekick so we can hopefully get it done for Bristol. That's the plan. It's gonna be a stretch, but I think we can make it happen. All right, check it out. Well, I just got that guy all welded up, but unfortunately that's as far as we can get right now because we do not have the turbo.
Yep.
We do have some that we could mock it up with, but we figured we would just wait till we get the actual unit in so it fits exactly where we want it.
Yep. Don't want to put it somewhere and then have it not fit the way we want it, so it's just easy enough to wait, but it's getting there.
That guy will just go on like so. We went ahead and just kind of bolted the intake back on, but it should be a fairly simple manifold, you know? It might not be the most efficient being the log style, but she's gonna flow some air, dude.
It's gonna work. Have the volume, so
I think Rob Dahm would be proud of that.
I don't know. By this point, he'd be like, "Look at these idiots not engineering this in."
I'm pretty sure he made a video like the most efficient turbo manifold for a rotary possible. Nah, dude, it's right here. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the one. So that just comes right off, similar to how we did the log manifolds like on the 240.
Yeah.
And
they're just simple. I mean, they work. You know, it ain't like we're going for peak performance here.
no, the Sidekick doesn't need that much power. It's already going to be plenty of power in a sketchy little vehicle here.
So it should be plenty.
But then that straight piece will go to this 90 right here. You want to kind of hold that up. We're going to mock her up, and that guy goes into a 45. Then we'll have a piece of straight coming up to this T4 flange like so. About right there, a little higher up. We're thinking to have a little tilt to the turbo, so the face of the compressor will probably be like right here. And then that will give us plenty of room to run the exhaust down through here. We do want to do a full exhaust on the Sidekick, but for right now, with the time crunch, she might get a hood dump like the rest of them. And then I already know the comments. Well, that's how the exhaust is going to be for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and it probably will be, but eventually it will get a full exhaust. We do want to make this into just like kind of a fun street daily driver, like a parts runner kind of car. So if we could have the full exhaust, make it somewhat drivable, it'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, I want it to be fully streetable, still have the radio in there, all that good stuff. Ideally, if we had a cutout, that would be sick. Have a full exhaust to cruise, and then when we want to pop some flames out the fender, we hit a button and we can do that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be
Honestly,
ideal.
Though, it's a Rotary, it's going to shoot flames all the way out the back, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
But there's something about seeing the flames from the windshield inside the car.
For real.
Gets you going.
Yep.
But yeah, once we get the turbo, which should be here shortly, we can go ahead and get that all finished up.
Everything else kind of going together, working on the wiring stuff, just getting ready to run the wiring harness through the firewall.
Yep, well, I just got a hole drilled right down there. Gonna start feeding some of the wiring through.
Kyle's in the back, getting the diff torn apart.
Yeah, you want to show that real quick? I think I'm about ready to see if this axle will pop out. I've been back here tearing all this stuff apart. We are going to be pulling the diff out of this thing, assuming we get it running in time. We want the diff to be welded, so we're spinning both tires at all times. And to do that, we got to pop both of the axles out so we can pull it out through the front there. And we had to modify this guy a little bit, open this up. And now we're going to go ahead and see if this axle wants to pop out.
There it is.
There she is.
So now we should be able to do the other side and then pull the diff out of it.
I have a feeling if we take this thing to the drag strip one day, those are going to snap.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they break doing the burnout. They look pretty small.
Hopefully they hold.
Things look like small little like 24 splines.
She got some toothpicks back there.
Oh, dude. It's freaking mint. Save that. We'll put it back in there.
That looks really clean.
Didn't need that.
That is not what I meant to do. It's a pretty tight fit right here. Well, rest in peace to that sensor. Oh, Jesus. Dude, that thing's on there tight.
Yup. 20 years of silicone strength.
There she is.
Yes, dang, look at the resolution on that speed sensor.
Hey, look at all the teeth on there.
We're gonna have to reuse that.
Need that for the MR2.
For real. All right, well that one looks real fun to weld. There's like no way to get in there.
All right, guys, we got to a stopping point on the Sidekick here. We just got the rear diff pulled out of this thing here, and our plan was to get this guy welded up, but it looks like this stuff comes apart. It's gonna be too hard to just weld it from the outside here. I guess all of this stuff from the inside kind of comes out of it, and we looked it up, and there is a spool available for this thing. I guess a lot of these guys will throw spools into the rear end because they take them off-roading or do whatever they need to do, and it's a very common thing on Sidekicks, Suzuki Samurais, and like Geo trackers. So they actually have a spool available. It's only 150 bucks. It will be here tomorrow. So to save ourselves some time, we're just gonna order the spool, and we will put the spool into the rear end here and then put it all back into the car, and both tires will be locked up and spinning at all times. So that is what we are doing there. Also, while we got it up in the air, figured I'd show you guys that we got the fuel cell installed. If you remember, we actually test fitted the one out of the jet boat into the back of the Sidekick here. The one in the jet boat was a 20-gallon cell, and it hung down a little lower than we had liked. This one right here is a 15-gallon, same dimensions lengthwise, but it's just a little shorter and it tucks up in there really nice. So the fuel cell is all mounted up. We actually got it connected to the factory fill neck as well, so it will be easy to fill our tank. This is the Walboro 450 fuel pump out of the MR2, the hand-me-down one, before we went to the mechanical pump. So that guy is all mounted up along with a filter, and we're starting to get some fuel lines ran for the Sidekick here. But for right now, guys, we are at a stopping point. Like I said, we have like a week to get this thing knocked out, so it is going to be a big push. Hope to see you guys at Bristol, but Mike is coming down right now, and then the next few uploads are going to be about the Sidekick, getting it up and running and going from there. But that's as far as we can get on it for right now until we get some more parts in. Hopefully we can get her up and going. I have some things to do on the MR2 to finish up this video. We have to fix the parachute mount, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. And then after that, it's full steam ahead on the Sidekick here to get her up and running for Bristol. So right now I'm doing a little work to the MR2 here. Got the back bumper pulled off, had to take the taillights and all that stuff to get that guy off. And she looks pretty ugly without the back bumper on there. But we have to make some repairs to our parachute mount here. So I don't know how many of you guys remember this or not, but when we first got the MR2 up and running on the twin turbo setup, we were just about to leave to Florida, and this parachute mount I whipped out very last minute. It was like one of the final things I needed to get done before we took the car out. So I never really got to do the parachute mount exactly how I wanted to, and I didn't get any paint on it or anything like that. You know, nothing new there. I don't paint anything, but got a whole bunch of surface rust on there. I noticed when we had the car out last time before it blew up, I looked up under the car because we go to these existing tow hooks right here to strap it down, and I could see that it was cracking pretty bad right here. So if you look at that, we have a pretty gnarly crack on both sides, and that had me worried because I couldn't really see how bad the crack was. I mean, on this side, I could see that it was really bad, and my worry was that if we pulled the chute and those welds aren't good enough, that this whole bar would rip off the back of the MR2 and take the bumper off with it. Here we are, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull this apart and just get all that stuff fixed up, maybe redo a couple things, definitely get some paint on this before it goes back onto the car, and just get all of that fixed. Also, since we already have this so torn apart, I might go ahead and cut some of this metal out that we don't need. We'll save a little bit of weight there, and more importantly, if air is passing underneath the car and some of that is catching on this metal right here, it's acting like a little parachute, we can go ahead and cut some of that metal out of the way. And while the bumper's off, it might not hurt to add some holes in the back bumper to let that air escape, so we're not building up pressure back here, and that's actually slowing the car down. That's why you see a lot of drag cars have the holes on the back bumper to let that air pass through. So that's all some stuff we could get taken care of right now while we're getting this parachute mount all fixed up. So I got the parachute mount pulled off the car here, and this thing is definitely pretty mangled up. If you look right here, we got a big old crack right there, along with all of the cracks I already showed you guys. And if you look up under here, that is what I saw under the car, so that is why I was very sketched out. But this thing is pretty beat up, guys. I was just gonna try to patch it up as is. There's also a little crack right there forming. But with how rough this thing is, I am going to be redoing the ends on this just to, you know, make it a lot better than it currently is. I'm going to reuse the middle section, so I'm just gonna lop the ends off right here at the very edges. And we had some 1.5 inch square tubing laying around over here, so I just ran to the hardware store, picked up some nuts, and I'm going to just weld those guys in like so. These will line up in the existing holes. Those guys will bolt on just like that. I can re-weld the bar back into place there, and then we can add some new beefier tow hooks, and then we will be good to go. But the OEM brackets that went in there were just pretty flimsy, so I think this will beefen all of that up, and then I will not worry about the parachute ripping the back bumper off the car anymore. So let's go ahead and get this thing knocked out. Well, I'm just about done getting the parachute mount all finished up here on the MR2. I also need to get a new parachute bag since this one got burned from the exhaust a while back before we made the heat shield. But really glad we got that taken care of, because if you look right here, these are the factory tow hook pieces that bolted up in there. You can see where the previous parachute bar was welded, and it was almost cracked all the way around on both of those guys. So that would have not been good to have the parachute bar rip off the back of the car, taking the rear bumper along with it. Having these tow hooks though was really nice for strapping the car down. So I think before I get the rear bumper back on, I'm gonna order some tow hooks that are just like some weld on deals, so I can weld those guys off of these tubes, cap this tube in. We'll have some tow hooks coming off, get it painted up, and then that will be done and ready to go. But I think it came out really good. Also, the parachute is slightly lower now, and this tube doesn't have any sort of angle on it. It used to have a slight up angle. Now it's more straight. So when the parachute actually comes out and tugs on the car, it's a little bit lowered. I think it will be a better tug point on the back of the car, being slightly lowered down and straightened out. And the chute is about an inch farther back from the exhaust. So I think it came out pretty good, boys. But that is going to do it for today's video. Like I said, we got a lot of work to do on the Sidekick. Hope you guys are excited. We've been kind of all over the place just trying to get things buttoned up here and there. But hope to see you guys out at Bristol, which will be this next coming weekend by the time you are watching this. So that is September 3rd and 4th. Hope to see you guys out there. And we're going to do our best, boys, to get the Rotary Sidekick up and going for that. So full steam ahead on this project from here on out. We got 1 week to go. Let's get to it. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you later.